Yo,
Peace.
hey,
How you feeling, sir?
I'm good, Brody. How's everything?
Man, it's great now. I finally got you on here. I
Thanks, man.
think uh I think you've been the most requested throughout the year. So I'm finally glad to have you.
Word, thank you, man. Thank
No
you.
doubt. We're gonna get into a history lesson and find out what you've been up to the past few years.
Cool.
Let's take it back. Tell everybody where you were born and raised at.
New York, Manhattan.
Can you
Upper
take
West
us
Side is where I'm from.
can you take us back?
97th in Amsterdam.
What's
Good.
that? Go ahead. Yeah.
97th in Amsterdam. That's where I'm from.
So
Yep.
can you take us back to a day in the life of Kurious growing up there?
Um, Man, we used to play everything, man. Football on the street. You know, back then we used to play outside, man. We have video games. You know, that stuff came, but we play in the street all day and then go inside and play Atari and all that stuff. You know, but we were playing football outside, getting smashed in the gates, and basketball, stickball, the ball going over the fence, dogs trying to attack us, like all that.
uh, any obstacles you had to endure growing up in New York
Plenty.
early on?
Shit. Yeah, sure. I mean, the regular kid, as a child, as a little kid.
Teenager growing up into
Yeah,
manhood.
people, you know, you got people wanting to beat you up, rob you, you know,
Right.
Parents, you know, yelling at you, what's other obstacles? You know, not wanting to do homework, regular shit, you know.
No doubt.
Yeah, man.
Can you take us back to some of your earlier influences, teenage years growing up, but
Music,
before you got into hip hop?
influences as in what? Like
Musical.
music? Oh, man. Well, all the hip hop stuff, the early hip hop. I mean, shit, like, you know, from Sugar Hill Gang to, you know, the Cold Crush, Fearless Four, you know, and on up. But I loved all music though, like R&B. I remember. I mean, I used to love Stevie Wonder as a child. I used to rock all of that on Hotter Than July, Musicarium. Yeah, man. I used to listen to the radio, to, you know, the regular R&B urban stations like 92 KTU and you know, all that stuff. And then, you know, of course, we had, you know, the salsa going on in the house, all that Fania stuff, you know, Gran Combo. Yeah, man, all of that. And then you know, then the TV shows like from Gilligan's Island to like, you know, the
Absolutely.
Jeffersons, Good Times, What's Happening, you know, Brady Bunch. I used to watch all that. So, yeah.
Right.
You know.
Take us back to getting into hip hop. What was your first foray into hip hop? Most will say maybe graffiti, dancing, DJing. What was it for Kurious that
I used to try to break dance, but my shit was whack. I couldn't do it. Like my boys, they could do windmills and all that. I had a little backspin, man. That was about it.
right,
Graffiti. Yeah, you know what's funny? I never had the talent for that. Like I can't draw too much. But sometimes like I'll look at like I could have done that. But I just
right,
was like, I don't know. I always thought my shit looked whack. So I was like, my tag was term 1, TERM1, and I had it for like 3 days. And now when I look back at it, I'm like, yo, that would have been fly. Term 1, this was hot. I'm
right.
like, even the way I wrote it, it wasn't great, but I was like, nah, I could. I look at some of these other dudes' tags. I'm like, I could have got busy, but I never. I just thought it was whack anyway. Not graffiti. Graffiti's dope. I'm talking about. I thought my shit looked whack, so
Right. Can you take us back to when you started to hone your skills as an MC and when you started to take it serious? Give us like a time frame and what was it that made you start to take it serious?
Yeah, I wasn't, man. I don't even think. The funny thing is, I don't even think through Constipated Monkey I was taking it serious. You know what I'm saying? You know, but I started out, you know, messing around with it right around the time, like right when I had like when I was like 16. You know, Sakia Records was in my building, and they had, you know, Rob Hill. They put out Eric B as president, King Son, Cutmaster DC. I mean, like a lot of these records was coming from my boy, rest in peace, Kareem. His dad. They was putting these records out in my house. So I mean, not in my house, in my building. So I'm seeing Eric B and Rakim coming through. I'm seeing King Son. You know what I'm saying? Dudes like that, and you know, I was like, yo, I'm gonna write my little rhyme, man, and I'm gonna play it for Rob. I'm gonna make a demo and play it for Rob. So I always had that thing. I used to write little rhymes, but I never quite made the demo. But then I never had the total aspiration to do it, but I knew how much I loved it, and I felt like I could do it because I was I was always articulate and good with words, and I was just like, I could do this. And then once I started working at Def Jam with Bob, but when I went in there, I wasn't like, yo, I'm gonna start making music. I went there like I was just like, it was a job right out of high school. I've told the story before. Like I had a job coming out of high school at the Empire State Building, a textile company, and I was a messenger, and I'd be carrying these big tubes down 34th Street, like these huge freaking rolls of fabric and all that, bumping into people like it was crazy. And then when Bob was like, yo, I'm gonna be working promotion, so they need a messenger or whatever. I was like, what do you got to carry? He's like, yo, mostly little envelopes and stuff. I was like, bet, I'll do that. So I did that. I started doing that, and then I'm there, and I'm like getting free tapes and all that. But we'd be in the conference room, but then I'd be with my man Grim too, and he would be rapping. Grim was already doing his thing, MF Grim, and I would be freestyling with them, bugging, and they would tell me, yo, George, you kind of nice, like just on the bug out, like your voice sounds good, you sound good. And I started doing the same thing at the conference room in Def Jam. And dudes would tell me, yo, you're nice, boy. You can kind of rhyme. And Bob would, like, encourage me. And then he put me in the studio making demos with this dude, Duke of Denmark. And we made a demo. And then after that, I met Power Rule. My man Power Rule. He had me in the studio doing demos there. So like now I'm taking it more seriously because I'm actually recording stuff. And what else? Oh, yeah, then Dante and Stimulated Dummies. I started working with them. And Pete Nice. You know what I mean? So it was all under that Def Jam and that circle. That's where people started. They started, showing me love, and yeah. So right there, and then in the clubs at night, I'd be drinking 40s, freestyling off the top of my head, because these dudes were the ones who really got me freestyling, like Dante Ross, and then leaders of the new school. I met them through there. They were like, "Yo, man, if you can't freestyle your shit, nah, you got to do that." You know what I mean? So they really emphasized it, but I was always doing it, bugging out. But they really made it like, so I really just started doing it, and I would get up there and just make a fool out of myself, and people liked it.
So, yeah, we're going to get into a lot of those names you mentioned earlier. Can you take me back to your creative process early on? You say you freestyled a lot, but as far as taking it serious, did you need a beat, or did you always constantly just write rhymes?
Nah, well, when I first started writing rhymes, I didn't have any beats, so I would write my little rhymes on a paper, just write them, or maybe to a beat that I heard on the radio. But now, ever since I started, once I got on, I would always get the beat and write to it. I wouldn't even put other rhymes from different stuff to different beats. I always just make the rhyme for the beat. I've been like that, always been like that.
How did Constipated Monkeys come about?
Well, the crew around my block is called CM. My man Cotty came up with the name. Now it's widespread, but it was Criminal Minded. But then, they'll call it Chainsaw Massacre. And anything CM moniker we play around with, but it's originally Criminal Minded. But of course, then me and Doom start chilling. Doom playing me the Last Poets thing, and the Last Poets record or something. And dude is like, you sitting at the bar like a constipated monkey. And we started laughing, staring into an empty bottle like a constipated monkey. So we started laughing. Then, he pointed it out, and the CM Constipated Monkey. So it's like like playing with the moniker, but the crew is not called Constipated Monkeys. That's just, our little take to have fun with it. You know what I'm saying? It's Criminal Minded. That's the name of the crew.
Right. How did you meet Lord Sear, and what role did he play in your career early on?
Oh, I met Lord Sear through K-Nit and Kai. Well, no. Well, kind of through Kai. I think, yeah, Cotty knew Lord Sear before me, because Cotty would hang out with K-Nit more than I would. But they went to IS 44, I think. It was Lord Sear and Kareem went to school together. So then he started bringing them around my block, I guess. And he would always do the beatbox, and he was mad funny. He was always mad cool. So when I, was getting on like that, I think Cotty brought it to my attention, was like, yo, Lord Sear could DJ, whatever, you put him on. I was like, hell yeah, come on. Like, no question, Stevie was always talented, man, and mad cool. So that was no brainer.
You mentioned Cotty and Sear and everybody. Were you in a crew first, or were you always trying to pursue a solo
Oh, no,
career?
I was always solo when it came to rhyming, always.
Okay. What kind of dues did you pay earlier on to get your name out there? I know I heard your name tossed around as far as the Gavin, Stretch and Bobbito show. What kind of dues did you pay early on to get your name put out there?
Tell you the truth, man. I mean, I think the most dues I paid, I mean, was getting up there and freestyling on the mic and rhyming. A lot of people won't have the nerve to do that. You know what I mean? So a lot of my due paying was there, but overall, I really feel like I got on so fast, like it happened so quick. I feel like, of course, you're paying dues because it's hard to put yourself out there like that and really do that. But I really can't say, like, let's say like dudes that were like, yo, I was doing this for 10 years and then finally got on. Like, I feel like had that happened to me, I'd have definitely been more marinated and more ready for what was coming my way. But the fact things just start falling in my lap so fast, I was just, I was making it happen because I'm rapping like crazy and going, and I just was not, I was fearless, just whatever. But in terms of paying dues, like when you think of paying dues, like dues that was like breaking down doors and labels and please listen to my demo and do all, like I never went through all that.
Can you
I
take us
pay dues like later, like now, paying
right?
dues like crazy, paying back dues, you know what I'm saying? Definitely.
I heard your name tossed around in a memory around the Gavin, maybe Souls of Mischief, rhyming out in San Francisco. Can you take us back to? Do you remember that
Yeah, hell
situation?
yeah, definitely. Like yesterday, man. We used to just get tore up, drinking, smoking, and just be rhyming, man. You talking about these dudes? They were like me, but out there, but just going crazy, like with the freestyles. They just so passionate. We used to have so much fun. It was such a vibe. That electricity just bouncing. Think about it. At that age, charged up, loving hip hop, rapping, cocky, smart. That shit is just going crazy. Like dudes were going crazy, man.
Right.
Shout out to the Souls, man. High Road, man. Dell, Casual, the
What
whole
was some of your best early memories going up to the Stretch and Bobbito show?
man, the whole thing. Every time, man, that shit was like a big party. We'd be up there, man, and drinking, snapping, listening to music, guests coming up, freestyling on the mic. That shit was incredible, man. Incredible. The whole thing. There was not like one specific, the whole thing.
Right. Early in the conversation, you mentioned Power Rule. You ended up on his album in '91. Can you
Yes.
take me back to how you guys met and how you jumped on Young Stars from Nowhere?
Yo, we met through Bob coming through the Def Chair offices. That was when they had Smooth out, and I had already seen the video, and I was just like, yo, this is my favorite shit in the world. Like I was just like, yo, just seeing Prince doing this thing. I was like, yo, man, he was like the Puerto Rican Rakim to me, like, yo, like, you know, and yeah, he came through the office with DJ Axe. Shout out to Axe. And Bob, they came to see Bob, like to give him some music or try to get a deal or something. They were politicking. And as soon as I saw him, man, they introduced us, bro. We said, what's up? And yo, I don't know. We just, he didn't know who I was. Or maybe he did. I don't know if at that time he might have heard. But whatever it was, man, as soon as we said, what's up, yo, it seemed like that night we were at a party drinking and then we were just inseparable, man. We just, rocking ever since.
Going into your career, was there anything you learned from him earlier on that you applied to yourself?
From Prince, let me think. How to no, how to drink. No, I was drinking by him now. Anything that I learned, um, not really specifically musically, because I mean, we, I guess I don't know. I learned from him in our conversations. He's a little older than me, so like that, and he's my bro. So but in terms of like, I guess he would take me in the studio. He already knew how to make beats and how to mess with the studio. So I guess, that in that way. But he always used to just let me be myself, man. He never was like, yo, do it this way or do it this way. He was always like, yo, you ill, man. Yo, that's crazy. And just put the beat. He used to like, just cater to me, man. He really respected my talent. And he was just a great friend, like my partner, man. But he used to teach me in regular life dialogue.
Right. At this point, did you ever make a demo and shop it? And what labels were interested with you at the time?
Nah, I never did. I was dubbing demos in Faith Newman's office, who was the head of A&R. after she was gone, like she had left for the day, and Dawn was her assistant, and Dawn was letting me use the when they had the double cassette. So I was dubbing one thing for another, and Faith heard it, but Faith hadn't left, and I'm in the conference room, and she walked in her office, and she heard it, and she was like, "Yo, this is yours?" I was like, "Yeah." She was like, "Oh man, this shit is dope." And then the next day, she had me with a meeting in Russell's office, man. Like, it was crazy, like that, just like that.
You ended up signing with Colombia. What was it about Colombia that was so appealing that you went with them?
It wasn't. I wanted to sign with Def Jam. I wanted to be with Russell, but I had already had a verbal agreement with Pete Nice. So Pete Nice, during this process, like when I was making demos and stuff, Pete Nice came in and he liked my stuff, and he had me under a production company, a production deal. That I signed with him. So he was trying to get a label deal at Columbia because he had other artists, but Columbia didn't want to give him a label because he was still going to keep me at Def Jam under his company, and then get a label deal at Columbia. But Columbia wouldn't give him a label deal with the artists he had unless Kurious was over there. So I was upset because I wanted to stay at Def Jam, but since I had my, I don't know if I had even signed a contract yet with Pete. I hadn't signed a contract. I was just going off with my word, and I said, "Fuck it." I gave my word to Pete. Okay, I'm gonna go over here, and I went to Columbia instead. But I wanted to be at Def Jam the whole time.
Can you take us back to how you two met and why you gave him the verbal agreement to sign with him?
Met him through Bobbito. They were real tight with Bob. Uh, yeah, what I'm saying, they were on. They were doing their thing, and this was before Faith had heard my stuff. You know, Pete was mad cool. That was Bob's man. Bob is my big brother. Bob is the one who put me on. So through Bob's word, and plus I was cool with Pete. I got cool with Pete. And third base, man, they were flying. You know what I'm saying? I met Doom through them. I was already tight with Doom. You know what I'm saying? I think I met Doom right there. Me and Doom was like power rule. Like as soon as we met, that was my brother. Like, you know what I'm saying? So, yeah. So I was just like, yeah, why not? Third base is killing it. I'd get on a little Pop Goes the Weasel, little he hooped it. Chill. Gotta go to the shows with them. I just was rolling. So I was like, hell yeah, all right, let's go.
Can you give us any details to what that deal was like? Was it a multi-album deal, a one-album deal? What was going on at Columbia?
Shit, I don't even know, man. Them deals was just, not great deals to say the least. And we did the first album, and then they wanted to do a second album with me, but I guess because a lot of the money was being mishandled, they were like, "We'll do a second album with you, but we'll only give half the money up front." But me, by that point, I was at a point in my life where I was like, I had hit a different reality. Like I wasn't writing rhymes. I was just like overwhelmed by everything I had gone through, and hitting a new level of reality. Maybe it was like, I had got too high one time or something, but I found the Lord, like I found God, like you know what I'm saying? It was real, and everything hit a realer level for me, and I had to step back from expressing myself, and I had to kind of figure out where I stood in terms of myself and my relationship with life.
Right. Going back to that debut album, what was your relationship like with the Beatnuts, and why did you choose them as some producers? I mean, I know they had the heat, but what was your relationship like that they had to get on your debut album?
Oh man, because they still are. They the man on the beats. They crazy with it. So Power Rule was cool with them. So I'm like, yo, Prince, man, yo, put me on with Beatnuts. Like I wanted to, get on with them, like get some beats from them. So that's then the first day I was supposed to link up with Juju to get beats or something. He didn't show up. VIC came, who's like a member of the Beatnuts, but like he does his own thing. Like he's kind of like the invisible guy there, kind of. But I met up with VIC, and that's where I found the Walk Like a Duck beat. But then once I linked with VIC, then Les came, and I used to be at Les's basement all the time, chilling with Psycho. He he would throw me beats all day. We would be there, you know what I'm saying? He was just showing mad love, and he just had mad beats. Juju, I wouldn't see as much. You know what I'm saying? Juju was more, I don't know where he was, but with Vic and with Les used to throw me beats, man. Even when the budget was gone, he didn't care. It wasn't even about money. Les just show love like that. You know, I'll never forget all of that. You know what I'm saying? So shout out to the Beatnuts and Juju. That's my man. I love those guys. And VIC, yeah, definitely.
No doubt. You dropped Walk Like a Duck in 1992 as
Yeah.
your first single. What was that reaction like when that hit the streets?
Uh, well, from my block, I had mixed reactions because dudes was like, you know, like some of my first demos, the shit was like 9mm rhymes. You know, it was more street like that. Walk Like a Duck is like weirder, you know, because I always been like that. Like, you know, I've been around a lot of stuff, like, you know, street stuff and all of that, you know. And even my dad, you know, he was on some gangster, you know what I mean? But you know, I went to good schools. My mom's put me in good schools, and I was more of a like a, you know, I was outside all the time, but I was at heart I was kind of more nerdy, a different kind of kid, you know what I mean? So that was more true to me. So as when I like a Walk Like a Duck and that stuff, but you know, I'm like right there. I'm like both. That's why you got the Uptown here. You got the Walk Like a Duck, because I'm like that. You know, I'm very very street and to the concrete, but I'm very like I'm not bound to that. You know what I'm saying? I like to do weird stuff. So a lot of people around me, they'd be like, yo, what's up? Like, yo, you've been around this thing. You know about this stuff. You can rap. Why you not talking about, you know, hustling and things? You did that before too. Like, why are you not talking about that? Don't you want to make money? That's where the money's at. That's what people want to hear. But for some reason, when I was doing that kind of stuff, that wasn't what I should have been doing. You see what I'm saying? So, you
Right.
know, I was always myself. And so Walk Like a Duck, you either loved it or you hate it. But I definitely got a hard time for that.
Right. 93, you dropped Uptown hit. What kind of momentum did you see, and what was the streets talking about at this point?
Yeah, I was getting love, man. That shit was, you know, they was like, okay, now you're talking. Like, all right, you know. But it was just, yo, it was so symbolic of us, you know, the 40s in the street having fun. It's like, you know, it was a real, just a real assessment of how we used to be outside and doing our thing. It wasn't like, I'm not sure, you know, it was just an actual vivid. It was an oath to Uptown for one, because, you know, we grew up on 97th in Amsterdam, but we used to be in Harlem all the time. That's like the mecca for style, and then Washington Heights too, just for the whole Uptown, because Upper West Side, as in like our area now, got more of a, but we were just like, I don't know, 97th is just like right there, but it's its own world, you know. But Uptown shit is just that everything Uptown, man. Even the East, like just that whole flavor, man, and just giving homage to Harlem and to everything else up there. You know what I mean? So
Right.
that's what that was.
You featured Cotty and the Omen on this. What was the plans for those guys earlier on? Did they want to form a group? Were they going solo? What was the plans for those guys?
Yeah, they weren't. They was just my boys, man. Like I guess Cotty, you know, he's a very business minded dude, so he'll get into the music business. But they didn't really have pure aspirations to be rappers. They was just that's my people, you know what I mean? And they just go in there and just we were having fun at the time. I'm not sure exactly, Damien, but I mean, obviously if your aspiration is to be a rapper, that's what you're gonna become. You're gonna be that, you know. So
Right. Also, you featured on the beginning of Dell's Boo Boo Heads. How did you guys form a relationship,
through
and how did that come about?
through Dante Ross. Dante Ross, shout out to Dante Ross and shout out to Dell. He Dante Ross introduced me to Souls. He introduced me to that whole crew. You know what I'm saying? So me and Dell, we hit it off. I mean, he used to be in my house all the time. Anytime they come to New York, everybody was in my house, man. You know, everybody come through, and Dell, that's my man. And I guess Dell maybe said, "Yo, do this intro." I don't know if we were in the studio mutually already, or if I came down specifically to do that. Either one wouldn't be a far fetched. It would be, you know, but I was like right there. You'll do this intro. It was like spur of the moment
No
type
doubt. I see
thing.
Dante Ross in the building. Shout out to Dante.
Yeah, man. What's up, Dante?
About this time, I mean, you're featured on you're friends with Souls and Dells. What's the temperature like? What is the West Coast saying about Kurious, or did you know at the time?
I think LA. I think that shit was a great market for me, man. I think I was getting love out there. I felt it out there like that, and the Bay Area. Yeah, West Coast was good. Definitely, it was love. Yeah, I was getting a lot of love out there.
Take me back to jumping on Pete Nice's solo debut album on Three Blind Mice.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, I was with Pete all the time. That was like during the same time when I was recording my record. So we be in Adam Gazzola's crib. Shout out to Adam Gazzola. He had a studio on 14th Street. That's where we recorded that. Um, yeah. And shout out to Benz, who's on that song too.
Yeah, Ben's from
Shout out to
Dreadnoughts.
Benz from the Dreadnoughts. And yeah, man, that was like just, you know, like people's, man, just kicking it. I'm there with Pete all the time. So, yo, get this verse, bet. write that down. Half an hour later, lay it down, whatever.
By this time, the buzz is at an all-time high for Kurious to
Yeah,
put his debut album together. Can you take us back to what your train of thought was going into your debut album and what you hope to accomplish with that?
yo, man, I tell you, I really didn't. I didn't have a train of thought, man. I was just whatever, like you know what I'm saying. Like I wasn't planning. I wasn't focused. I was just twisted making music. Like if I was gonna always do that, you know what I mean? Like it was just like as a kid, I was a kid. Like I was just like whatever, you know what I mean? Just like it wasn't no like, all right, I'm gonna do this, then I'm gonna. Nah, I wasn't even thinking like that,
Right,
which is a shame. You know what I'm saying? I actually, I'd have been better off thinking like that. I don't think that record would be how it was though if I was thinking like that. You know,
right.
everything is what it is. So that's what it was.
Can you take us back to working with the stimulated dummies in the studio?
Oh man, rest in peace to Gibby and Gamble. That was great times, man. We'd be in West Beth in the basement, be down there. Dante, Gibby, Gamble, they pulling out them old funky ass records, man, and just Joe down there smoking these fat joints like that fat, bro. They wasn't even smoking blunts. Because we used to smoke blunts on the block. You go in there, they passing you shit like that, like crazy. You just be down there high as hell, good vibes, good music. Dudes will come through there that they will work with, like Hard to Obtain. Shout out to them. Um, yeah, man. No, those were great times, man. Great times. I'd stay at Dante's house. Dante give me mad beat tapes. We'd be out drinking pints of Guinness, smoking weed. You know, mad fun.
How hard? I mean, you were getting beats from stimulated dummies, the Beatnuts. How hard was it to select those beats for a project like the one you put out? Was it easy?
Nah, it was easy. It was easy. I wasn't, I was just spur of the moment. Like as soon as I hear one, boom, I like it. All right. I wasn't like really going, oh, is this better than this? Or is this, you put it up. Oh yeah. So I get a feeling and I just go with it.
Right. Now, when I'm Curious dropped, what kind of momentum did you see with the project and what kind of